Hey everyone, the purpose of this video is to teach the basics of how to read music. So I'm just going to go right into it. Now the first thing you'll see to the left is probably familiar to most people. It's called the treble clef. All that means is that it's a way of looking at the music. There are different clefs and this happens to be the most popular. It's usually for high instruments like the flute, the clarinet, and for the right hand of the piano. For now, I'd like you to ignore that C that's right beside it. That's called a time signature, and I'll get to that later, or maybe in another video. Now to the right, you'll see the four notes and F-A-C-E. So spelling out face, that's an easy way to remember those notes. Those are the spaces, that's what it's called, the spaces of the treble clef. So those are all the notes that are in the spaces. And then to the right, you'll see all the notes that go into the lines. So EGBDF, which is obviously hard to remember, but there are some anagrams for coming up with that, like every good boy deserves fudge. Or if you want to be more politically correct, you could do every good butterfly deserves flowers, or every great bear dives fiercely. There's really no rules, so you can come up with whatever you want. All of these letters encompass all of the notes in music. Music only goes from A to G. The great thing about learning the names of the notes is so that way you can learn it on any instrument, rather than learning the tabs for a guitar or any other similar shortcuts. If you know the letter names, then you can learn the notes for any instrument. Now let's take a look at the bass clef. That's what that's called. That's the bass clef. So it's similar to the treble clef, except it's typically for lower instruments like the left hand of the piano or the trombone, the tuba, the euphonium, the bass guitar. Again, please ignore that C. That stands for common time, and that's a time signature, and I'll talk about that later. So here we have ACEG for the spaces, and you can remember that as all cows eat grass. And for the lines we have GBDFA, which traditionally could be good boys deserve fudge always, or you can come up with some of your own, like I came up with good butterflies deserve flowers always, and great bears dream for action. You can really come up with whatever you want. For now, please ignore that squiggly line and that little rectangle. Those are called rests, and those tie in with time signatures, and I'll talk about that later. Okay, so now it's time to look at an example. So we can see on the left that this is a bass clef, so we're going to have to apply the anagrams that apply with the bass clef. So good boys deserve fudge always, or great bears die fiercely always, or whatever you come up with, and all cows eat grass for the spaces. So why don't you pause the video right now and try to figure this out before I give the answer. Okay, so the answer is B-E-G-A for those notes. So good boys deserve fudge always, so the second space is B. All cows eat grass, so we have E for that third space, and then G for good, and A for all. Now let's look at an example with the treble clef. So you can see on the left there is the treble clef. So why don't you take some time right now, you can pause the video and you can try to figure this one out. Okay, welcome back. So the answer to this is, it's actually a trick question here. So it's D-A-F-F. Yep, that's right, you can have the same letter in different spots. So the first one, every good boy deserves, right? There's a D. And then you have A for face, F-A. And then for the third one, every good boy deserves fudge, so F. And then F again from face. In fact, you can have the same note lots of times in music in different registers. Basically, the higher one will sound higher than the lower one. But now what do you do when you see stuff like this? Those lines above the staff are called ledger lines. Basically, all it's doing is extending the range of the staff. So you can easily figure out these notes by counting up from notes you already know. So you know that the top line of the treble clef is F from your every good boy deserves fudge anagram. So if you just count one space up, that'll be G. Music just keeps going up and down like that. So you go one up from F, it becomes G, and then that line above it would be A, and then that makes the second note a B. You keep counting one up for the lines in the spaces. So the first note is a G, the next one is a B, and now going down, so you know that the first line is an E from every good boy deserves fudge, so the space below that would be D, and then now the note we're looking at, the line, would be even one more down, so that's C. And so for the next one you keep going down, so the space below that C would be a B, and then the line below would be an A, and then finally the space below that for the note we're looking at is a G. Now let's look at an example in the bass clef. See if you can pause this now and figure this out for yourself. Okay, welcome back. So the answer is D, G, F, and C. So here's the breakdown. So you know the top line is an A from good boys deserve fudge always. So the space above that would be B, and then the line C, and then finally the space above that line is D. Now let's just keep going up. You have D, and then E, F, G for that line. And so now going to the next one, the low note, you know that the low line is G for good boys deserve fudge always. So G, one lower than that is F. Now going lower, you have E, D, then C, finally for that space. It's important to note that the note above that high G would not be an H. It would start going back. It would in fact be an A. So you would go G, A, and then it would keep going up B, C, D, E, F, G, then back to A again. Well, there you have it, the basics of reading music. If this video proves to be popular, then maybe I'll start talking about other things like accidentals and time signatures. Well, I hope you enjoyed this, and I'll talk to you later.